Miss Mertzwin.
Here.
Charles City County, Miss Adams. Chesterfield County, Miss Smith.
Here.
Goochland County, Mr. Goyne.
Here.
Hanover County, Chair Vidunas.
Here.
Henrico County, Miss Smidler.
Here.
New Kent County, Miss Inman.
Good afternoon. Here.
Powhatan County, Miss Dutton.
Here.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Bonow. GRTC, Mr. Darkwa. Mr. Dillard. CVTA, Mr. Parsons.
Here.
Plan RVA, RRTPO, Mr. Bushing.
Here.
VDRPT, Ms. Dubinsky. Mr. Hudson.
Here.
VDOT, Mr. Hagan.
Here.
RMTA, Ms. Dean. Virginia Port Authority, Ms. Nelson. All right, and we do have a quorum.
Excellent. Are there any amendments to the agenda?
Mr. Chair, there's one amendment, item 7. We will not have a Q3 financial update as part of that. It's just going to focus on the public transportation plan.
Okay. Do we need to take any action on that?
No, sir, I don't think so.
Okay. Great. Okay. First order of business will be approval of the April 13th, 2026 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion and a second?
Sharon Smidler, so moved. Art, second.
Okay, great. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Okay, great. Next up is public comment period. Do we have anybody wishing to address the committee today? Okay. Seeing and hearing none, we will move on to item 7. This would be the GRTC Regional Public Transportation Plan.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I know that our members are not present from GRTC, but Ms. Robinson is here to give the update. This is an action item, and if you look on page 6 of the packet, yeah, this is the staff report. This is an annual process whereby GRTC prepares a regional public transportation plan as outlined in the state code under the creation of the CVTA. And I believe Ms. Robinson is going to go through some slides that start on page 7. And then I think the action is to recommend full authority approval of the FY27 GRTC Regional Public Transportation Plan. I'm happy to turn it over to Patricia, and I think, Sid, can you drive, or Patricia, are you able to share your screen? Either way.
She can share her screen. It should be good now.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I went to share my screen and lost the group window. All right. Okay, does that come through on everyone's screen okay?
All set.
Okay. Great, I'm Patricia Robinson. I'm the Assistant Director of Planning and Scheduling. And what I have for you today is the Regional Public Transportation Plan for FY27. So this is a plan that requires collaboration with the TPO as an annual requirement to identify how GRTC is planning to use CVTA funds in the upcoming fiscal year. So I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough on what we accomplished in 26 and provide an update for 27. And that does end with the voice vote for support for the public transportation plan for the year. For FY26, we focused on replacing low utilization fixed route service with microtransit. This is an on-demand service that increases the amount of service area that an individual can get a one-seat ride to and from their destination, as well as over a greater span of service hours. So we did 2 replacements with the Route 56 and 88, with the addition of a new zone, Broad Rock, and the expansion of an already existing zone, Sampson. And then just going into our 27 priorities, like years past, we are doing, we have estimated 31.2 million in maintaining transit operations. This does prioritize a level of service restoration from our February service reductions due to low operator and some workforce challenges. There was a 7% reduction in service that we are prioritizing restoring as more operators become available and as the service is evaluated on needs. And then there is 2 million that we use in grant matching funds for capital and technical assistance, state of good repair, and rider experience. Some of those examples include fleet replacement, security upgrades, surveys, and that is part of our overall $92 million budget for 27. And then just to show where this plan has gone and what its next steps would be, is that we worked on throughout the winter budget prep, grant applications, formulating the draft plan, and then it has gone through the TPO TAC for approval, GRTC's board of directors, as well as the TPO policy board. So the round of CVTA approval is what's next, TAC, finance, and the full authority. And then this is the actual requested item, is that GRTC accrues the prior year's fiscal, or uses the prior year's CVTA funds for the next fiscal year's operations. So GRTC is asking that, so we're expected to accrue 35.1 by the end of June. And of that, GRTC is going to utilize 33.2 in CVTA funds to maintain level of service and those capital matches. And that difference in funds would be put into restricted reserve, as well as all funds that are accumulated in FY 2027 to be put in the restricted reserve as well for utilization in FY 2028 and future years. And I'm happy to pause there for any questions.
Okay, so seeing no questions, is this the requested action at the very bottom of the screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So
This is Amy. I actually did have a quick question. I had my hand up, sorry.
oh, sorry, Amy. There was a pop-up that totally obscured.
It's okay, it's Teams.
Okay,
Okay, Patricia, thank you. Just a quick question. So the fiscal year 27 distributions, so you're expecting to put the entire amount into the restricted fund?
For FY 27, yeah. So, and GRTC's just kind of normal process for this is to use the previous year's funds for the upcoming fiscal year. So for 27, for this plan for 27, we're using funds from 26
Okay.
and moving forward just to make sure everything is accounted for and accrued appropriately before spent.
All right, thank you.
anybody have anything else for Patricia? Okay, thank you for that presentation. And so we'll need a motion in a second.
This is Barb. I'll make a recommendation to the full authority to approve the FY 27 Regional Public Transportation Plan.
Very good.
I'll second. This is Daniel Wagner.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll do this by voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstains? None. Okay, very good. Thank you, Patricia.
Thank you.
All right, Jeff, do you have this next item?
I do. Let me share the screen. So this is in everybody's packet, but this is an item related to the Port of Virginia access improvements. And there are two approved regional projects related to this item. One is CVTA 0024, which is the Port of Virginia Richmond Marine Terminal improvements at I-95 Bells Road, PE only. And that was approved in round 3. And then in this most recent round, there was a approved project CVTA 0050, which is Richmond Marine Terminal access improvements, letter F, Port of Virginia Gateway Interchange and streetscape improvements. Both of these projects are being administered by VDOT and CVTA. This is an important part. CVTA 24 already has a fully executed project agreement that's in place that is active. And remember, that is the PE only phase that was approved in round 3. So VDOT, and thank you, Larry, for finding this. VDOT has approached the CVTA with 2 requests. The first is to revise the funding under CVTA 24 to $1 million. The original amount was $2 million, and the supporting documentation is there under item 1. But essentially, there was $1 million leveraged in Smart Scale Round 6, and the additional $1 million is deemed surplus. So from Project 24, that $1 million can be returned to balance entry as outlined in the regional project selection and allocation framework. The second item is a request to combine both of these regional projects into one project using the already approved CVTA 24 agreement. So the projects are related and both are being administered by VDOT. From the staff point of view, and I'm sure from the VDOT perspective, invoicing and reimbursement can be greatly streamlined by putting both of these under one agreement. So there is in the packet, there is a proposed revised agreement, which I believe, yes, is redlined, so you can see the proposed changes. And this would move forward for consideration. But the requested action today is to recommend that the authority approve an amended project agreement for funding administration between the CVTA and VDOT. And it would ultimately be named CVTA 24. And then additionally, to receive the $1 million in surplus back to balance entry. That is not, for some reason, that is not written out in the requested action, but that is part of the action. So with that, I'd be happy to cede some time to Larry if he wanted to provide any other perspective from the VDOT side. But that is the requested action, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Larry, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No, I think the agenda item and what Chet shared pretty much covers that. I can't think of anything else to add.
Okay. Very well. Do we have any questions for Chet? Okay. Again, we'll need a motion and a second on this.
I'll make a motion. This is Barb, to combine the projects and move that $1 million to balance entry.
Second,
This is
anybody?
Beth, I second.
Okay, great. Thank you, Beth and Barb. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll handle this one with a roll call vote.
All right. Town of Ashland, Miss Moritz Gwynn.
Agree.
Chesterfield County, Miss Smith.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Goyne.
Aye.
Hanover County, Chair Vidunas.
Aye.
Henrico County, Miss Smidler.
Aye.
Powhatan County, Miss Dutton.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner.
Aye.
New Kent County, Miss Inman.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Keep it rolling, Chet.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we had we have a draft revision to the proposed funding acknowledgement, communications, and branding policy, which I thought was included in this agenda packet. I don't think I see it. I apologize for that. It is, I believe, in the Finance Committee packet for Wednesday. But I don't know, while I'm talking, Mo, if you could find that and put it on screen, that would be great. But essentially, there were concerns if for folks who did not tune in to the authority meeting, the last authority meeting at the end of April, I believe on the 24th, we had some concerns about how restrictive a proposed policy could be on requests and the reimbursement process for regional projects. So the request was for TAC and Finance Committee to review the proposed language that was included on the April 24th agenda, which I believe that is the one that's in the packet for today, and to come up with suggestions or recommendations on how to revise that. Yes, okay, so here's the streamlined version, I'll call it, of the same acknowledgement, communications, and branding policy. And we could send this out to everybody after the meeting if you'd like to see it in more detail. But essentially what it does is it takes the version that was reviewed by the full authority and removes some of those restrictive sentences and language regarding reimbursement holds, essentially that could be placed. And the comments are in there, and that's key because the comments do show review from legal counsel as well. So if we were amenable to move this forward for review by the Finance Committee, and then I think we could be in a place to have a recommendation of a streamlined version of this for the full authority. Just in case you were not able to read the staff report, the purpose of this language, this policy, is to help provide consistent messaging about the CVTA and its involvement in advancing transportation projects in the region. One of the primary focus areas for the authority itself has been to increase, public awareness and engagement on who the CVTA is and what we do. So consistent messaging on CVTA funding support is one of the ways that I think we can start to share more information with the general public on how the CVTA has been involved in getting projects off the ground. I think we all do a remarkable job already in terms of referencing the CVTA and leverage funds or other support that the authority provides for advancing projects. But just having a policy in place, I think, helps to provide that consistency in terms of what that message could be. You know, if you need to include a logo in, you know, press releases, this would help to provide that consistency and maybe reduce some stress on local staff that may be putting together these press packets or communication materials, just because we'd have everything in a library already that could be shared back out. So again, Mr. Chair, I apologize for not having the revision in front of everyone for this meeting. And I understand if you don't want to take action on it yet because of that. But the draft is on the screen, and we could certainly share that out for everyone's review as soon as we can after the meeting's over today. This is a draft, so I know that there is one numbering issue that needs to be corrected in terms of the outline, but otherwise it's a very simple, I believe, 3-page revision.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that, Chet. So Barb has her hand up.
Yeah, Chet, I think you sent out the revision on May 6th in a separate email.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, thanks. Amy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chet, as I recall, at the finance committee meeting, I think it was the finance committee, or I guess maybe it was the board meeting where this was discussed. I think there was the concern largely raised about the potential for having funding revoked if it was not adhered to. And I think the question was, you know, how can that be? And was there any resolution on that from legal perspective, or because it looks like the language has not changed for that provision?
No, Amy, it has changed.
Did it change
What's in the packet was the original language. What was sent out as we just heard on May 6th was the revision.
Okay.
So that does remove that language, but to your first point, it wasn't ever the intent to revoke any funding. It would just be to put it on hold until, like, the reimbursement request would not advance until the acknowledgement was given. But that's not the case anymore with the revision. So that would address the concerns from the authority.
Right. I guess my other comment would be, sorry, I'm sorry.
Can you, I'm sorry, maybe we just pause there for a second, Amy, because it's
Sure.
a good point. Chet, can you bring that back up and just show us what that looks like now?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair. I don't have the exact red line.
I think if you scroll down a little farther to the very end, you'll see compliance and enforcement.
Thank you. Yes, so this originally, and you can see it in your packet, this originally said failure to comply may result in withholding of reimbursement until compliance is achieved, and then some additional language that is taken out under item 6 at this point. So this is more of a, we ask everybody to comply, and then
So to be absolutely clear, now I'm confused. What we're seeing on the screen, this not item 6, number 6, is no longer the case.
Item 6 is in the revised version. It's got softer language than was in the original. So it says reimbursements may be paused until confirmation of future compliance from the jurisdiction's
Okay,
administration.
thank you, Barb. So this is the current proposed language right here.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's what yeah. Okay, Amy, thank you. Does that clear that up for you? And
Oh, no, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So in the projects over 5 million that require the signage, right? It requires the full suite of media releases and all the acknowledgement, including signage. So if we have a project, are we expected to have that included in the project so that the signage can be properly, I guess, placed within the scope of the project? Or are we expected to put it outside of the project limits? And if so, then that requires a VDOT land use permit, I believe, for that signage. And so, I guess if we have to go through that process to do that, and then we would, if they don't allow it for whatever reason, due to the location, then I guess will be acceptable for rationale not to place the signage on a major construction project. I'm thinking of the DDI, whereas where you have very limited construction area, you could put it on either side, I guess, of the limits, but yeah, I don't know
I mean,
how that
I
would
have,
play out with DDI.
I have an opinion on this. I don't, I think what we're talking about is a good faith effort, and I would think that VDOT would cooperate in any land use permit that would be needed, but I would just suggest communicating with CVTA staff if you do run into issues in terms of compliance. But I think, again, what I think we're talking about here is a good faith effort, and not to try to prescribe and deal with every possible situation and scenario.
That wasn't trying to do that, Mr. Chairman. It was a
Excuse me?
simple question. I wasn't trying to do that. That it was just a simple question for chat to understand under that provision. Are we going to have, and quite frankly, in a lot of these larger projects, VDOT's going to be in charge of them anyway. So it's probably a good point, but I think it's one worth discussing. But
Austin.
No, I kind of had a similar question, but one of the comments I have on the section number 6 is that the language might be a little softer, but it's more or less saying the same thing. That's saying, funding may be withheld is kind of written in both the old version and the current version. If the intent is to, I don't know how to go and enforce this without it having some stick, but I'm a little uncomfortable with funding potentially being a part of that if communications teams on our end, slip up and not put the right acknowledgements wherever they need to be. That's all.
Amy.
okay, thank you. So I do have just maybe a question for Chet. Why is this required at this point? I mean, I think we've all, as you've noted, have been acknowledging CVTA. So I guess what, other than just administration really wanting to make sure that all the localities acknowledge CVTA? I mean, this is not a requirement that we've ever had with VDOT or any other major capital project. So I'm just wondering what precipitated this sort of requirement.
Sure, that's a good question. I think that a lot of as I said, the focus of the authority has been, putting the public more in touch with what the CVTA is and what we do. So it's not, everybody's making a good faith effort to share information. I'm not blaming anyone, but when you put a press release out, there's not always acknowledgement. What this would do is provide some consistency, saying, you can use this sentence or these two sentences to say, CVTA contributed or participated in this project in the amount of whatever the dollar amount was. It's not trying to be burdensome or onerous on anybody, but it's raising public awareness on CVTA involvement. The I-64 widening project, I think, was a good example where VDOT does have standards and policies that are followed and attributed CVTA accordingly in the information that was released on a major project like that. You know, there's signage out on the road that when that's necessary, the signage can reflect that as well on who all the funding partners are, just like, you know, FHWA or IAJA or any of the big federal funding programs have funding acknowledgement in a similar fashion. I don't think we're trying to be restrictive, but we're trying to also find ways to, you know, to provide that consistency and acknowledgement that may be missed sometimes. I think the other side of this, Mr. Chair, is when you put something out in the media doesn't always understand and may present it in a different way. I've seen a couple instances where we've tracked press releases that have been reported by media outlets that attribute CVTA funding to the locality rather than the CVTA. So, and I think that's misleading in some cases. So, and I think that this is a fairly simple approach to address some of these inconsistencies, and that's the intent. It's not supposed to slow anything down. We don't ever want to, like, you know, stop providing funding reimbursement. And in most cases, I don't see where that would happen. But it provides that kind of backdrop to ensure that there's another level of consistency to keep a project moving forward.
As I was well, that if we took out 6, or at least didn't have the language in there of causing the reimbursements. Just my 2 cents. Thank you.
Okay. So where are we on this? Do you all feel like you're ready to take a vote, or you want more time on this? I.e.
Sorry, I just had one more question. So is this just regional funding or is this local funding too? Because I'm just thinking the local, okay, just wanted to, is it both regional and local?
Yeah. I'm gonna let Chet answer, because your previous response, Chet, did kind of raise a question with me, but go ahead, and Sharon picked up on it.
Yeah, I think it would apply to any funding. But again, and under item 3 and 4, the first 4, I mean, there's different levels. If it's a smaller amount of funding, you know, you would just put things in a press release. It's optional for social media, you know, just kind of setting up that outline. Again, this sounds like this is really tough for everybody, so I apologize for that. Like, I didn't realize that this would be as restrictive as it is. So maybe there's more work that needs to be done. I mean, and that's fine with me. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and just from my perspective, so CVTA regional, I don't have a problem with that. We can plan, they're kind of bigger dollars, but if it gets into local, even if it's under 500,000, depending on the amount, sometimes there's not like a project web page for it, or if like, and now I'm just getting into the weeds as I do as an engineer. Sometimes it's just like, I want to try to comply, but I want to make sure that we can. So I don't think with the regional, the bigger projects, it would be an issue, but some of the local dollars, where we still have a list of what we're spending it on, but we don't have project web pages, and there may not be an opportunity, but thanks.
I guess, can I just ask the question?
Yeah, Amy.
Oh, okay, great, thanks, Jen. So Chet, would you, I mean, I think it seems to me it's just this 6 that I think everybody can probably live with, the request for the media acknowledgement, signage, that sort of thing with the various levels of funding. But is 6 really necessary at this point? I mean, I guess that would be my question. If that, do you feel very strongly that that's kind of this carrot and stick sort of thing that helps to put the teeth in this provision? I'm just asking. And
I mean, Mr. Chair, I don't know. I mean, I think, yes, there's probably got to be some kind of a incentive. and I mean, not incentive, but yeah, I mean, what would encourage, the additional or more broad acknowledgement? And again, I'm not saying that anybody is doing this intentionally. It's just that there isn't a resource right now, or any guidance on how to do that. So I think that's kind of the goal from my end. This may not be the format that we need to use, but I think it's a start.
I'm going to ask a question, and maybe I've just been asleep at the wheel. Is this it sounds like this policy has been in place since, when did this initial policy?
We haven't had one yet.
Okay, so
This is a brand new thing.
Okay, so I'm getting mixed up with the draft and revised draft. Okay, all right. So, maybe I'll just throw this suggestion out. Take out 6 and let's give it a trial. And if we find that there's not good faith effort to comply, then let's look at putting some teeth in to get better compliance. I mean, that's an option, because it does seem like some folks are a little bit hung up on number 6. Somebody's raising a thumb. That's Amy. Okay.
that was me. I think that's a great one, Joe. Good one.
I see Barb's got her hand up.
Yes, I do want to hear from Barb.
Yeah, that seems fine to take that out. And, I think we discussed that I think there's an opportunity to ease into this a little bit, and have conversations with TAC members or authority members when there are issues that come up, and, just try to get people to remember to do that. And if it becomes something that is not being adhered to, then we can revisit this policy and put something in there.
Okay. So,
Mr. Chair, I have one more illustration to share.
Okay.
Of how this could be helpful. Just thinking about social media, like right now, our staff or TPO staff doesn't know in any one day what's going on with most projects unless we're notified at the locality level. So I think that having this policy in place where, just to Barb's in my line of view, if Chesterfield puts out something about a project that's getting ready to kick off and they tag CVTA in it, then CVTA can, collect that information that project's underway and can share it out as well. We don't have any of that kind of framework in place to provide that support in terms of, public acknowledgement of what's going on. So this could even be something that would be that simple where, it's a hashtag or whatever we do these days, to identify, partners and things. We're not necessarily doing that across the region today.
Sorry, I had one follow-up, Joe.
yeah, of course.
Sharon's point about local versus regional, I think was a good point. If we were to look at the local spending plans, I think some of the jurisdictions are really using the local money for a variety of not just projects, but transportation related services. It might get tough to try to spell all that out, I guess.
Understood. Yes. Yeah. Again, this doesn't have to be the end all be all. We can live it and experience it and come back and tweak it as we need to. But yeah, those are some good points. Amy? Oh, muted Amy.
Oh, gosh, I'm sorry. I just want to say I acknowledge what Chet was saying, that yeah, I think what he's saying is we probably need to do a better job of keeping him updated with what's going on with our local projects. And this helps to provide a framework for maybe what their expectation is as it relates to acknowledging CVTA. So I think the framework of this is really good, laying out what CVTA thinks is appropriate for various levels of funding for projects is totally fine. I just think the number 6, is too much right now. But I do think this is a great framework, Chet, for us to go by. And I also acknowledge that this probably needs to be more for the regional pot, less so for the local pot, unless it's a project that makes sense, right? I mean, then we should do that. I will tell you that we acknowledge CVTA every chance we get. I do in my presentations to the board and to the public. I certainly, my board members do. They love to talk about CVTA and how our transportation is funded with, non carbon tax dollars, general fund dollars. So, we love to talk about it. And this is good guidance as it relates to projects. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Maybe I'll just have the last word on this. I will say, we do have other mechanisms for reporting progress and so forth on projects. We submit with reimbursement requests. We submit quarterly reports. We have our own status reports. There's a lot of stuff already out there. I think my view of this, and maybe it's different than others, is that this is really part of a promotional campaign to inform the public of all the great things that we're able to do with the CVTA dollars, more so than anything else. And so at least that's how I see it. I got a thumbs up from Chet. I'll stop talking. Again, I'll ask the group, do you all feel comfortable sending this forward? I think with the elimination of number 6 to the Finance Committee with a recommendation for adoption, that would be by the full committee. Or do you want to see this revised version at our next meeting? Everybody, I mean, I'm comfortable going forward now. As just kind of like thumbs up, everybody kind of nodding yes. Any objections to that? Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll need a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion that we advance this to the finance and to the full CVTA board, with the exception of removing item 6.
Okay. I'll second if I can. Yep. Okay, second. Any further discussion? Okay, this can be done by voice vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? None. Okay, great. Thank you. And the last business item is concerns Vaughn Road, Town of Ashland. Chet's got it queued up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is item 10 on page 52 of your packet. This is an item related to the Vaughn Road overpass. It is a regional project that was awarded CVTA regional funds in 2022. That has grown due to inflation over the past few cycles. So that project is now listed at 5.3 million, as shown in the staff report. The town, through no fault of their own, has been unable to successfully secure additional funding using this as a leverage. There was an FRA grant that was applied for at least a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, that was unsuccessful through DRPT, and there's been a lot of work being done to try and find other ways to advance the project. It's not necessarily a friendly smart scale application due to the requirements of or the analysis sections of smart scale. So the town is now has approached staff with a request seeking approval to reallocate these funds for development of 30% design plans. That is something that is allowable and has been done with CVTA funds in the past. It is listed out in the framework, and that is shown here in the staff opinion. The section of the framework is listed in the indented section of the staff report. So it is all perfectly allowable, and I know that there is currently work being done by the town in a couple different ways to look more holistically at all of the crossings up and down the corridor and what could be done with those. So the development of these 30% design plans can go a long way towards making the project shovel ready for future use. So the request from the town is to use 2.3 million listed right there at the bottom in leveraging funding to develop the 30% design plans, and the remainder of that, the original allocation, which is 3.019 million, to be returned to balance entry. Additionally, staff's recommendation is the town is encouraged to apply for supplemental regional funding once those plans are done. And there's a way forward for moving the project ahead. I think it's still a great candidate for regional funds, just once the right fit is found. So the requested action is to recommend approval of the adjustment of funding for the Vaughan Road Overpass project from leveraging to 30% design, with the balance of the leveraging funds returned to balance entry. And I know that Ms. Mertz-Gwynn is here in case there are additional comments or a background that she would like to provide for this project case.
I just wanted to say that one of the brick walls we have hit is that CSX is uncomfortable going all the way to construction or committing and giving us their approval to move all the way through to construction. They would prefer that we get a design done that we all agree on before we apply for construction funding. And so that's what we're trying to do here. It's also why we're studying all the crossings and not just the one. And that is also at CSX's request for changes that they would like to make at all of our crossings. So we're trying to pull back and just do the design just for Vaughan, and then share all of this information with CSX and get their approval to move forward. Any questions?
So the amount, I forget what it is already, for the 30% design, it sounds like that is probably based upon a fee proposal from a firm that you all have engaged.
From Kimley Horn. They're the ones doing our study of all of them, and they gave us the fee proposal for just doing this design. That is correct.
Okay. I guess if there were, they encounter something in developing the 30% plans that required a supplement, I guess they'd be able to come back and, you know, if they turned out that if you turn in the remainder into balance entry and you encounter the need for a supplement of some type. But hopefully Chet CVTA would recognize that that's part of the 30% design and allow for them to cover that.
That would be very gracious of you.
When I see exact figures, it makes me nervous. Because it doesn't leave you any leeway. Hopefully they've considered everything and that's that. I guess, again, cross that bridge when we get there. Does anybody have any questions for Beth?
I see Larry's got his hand up.
Yes. Hey, Larry.
Hey there, Beth, could you please confirm the basics of the scope for this project and your understanding, if any, of VDOT's involvement with it?
For the scope of just the Vaughn Road portion, is that what you?
Yeah, the Vaughn Road
referring to?
overpass, yeah, yep.
We do not have VDOT's involvement as of yet. We are working, like I said, we're doing the study with FRA. FRA has been involved in it. DRPT has been involved in it. DRPT has offered us their assistance for free to do multiple things for us with this, but it just seems at this point the only way to go forward with this at all, you know, to include VDOT is to get a 30% plan. And once that plan, CSX has been very difficult to get their approval on this. And we had their approval apparently a couple of years ago before I worked here, and they pulled it at the last minute. And it was for this very reason. They don't want to commit to a design without getting to see what it's going to look like and how it's going to affect them.
Okay, so no expectation of VDOT administering this. This is a town project, and you're not expecting our involvement administering development of the 30% plans or the project after. Is that accurate?
That is accurate.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, anybody else have anything? Okay, this is a roll call vote, but before we get to that point, we need a motion in a second. Beth, would you like to make a motion, Beth?
I'll make the motion that we move forward with approval of this as stated.
Second. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Town of Ashland, Ms. Mertz Gwynn.
Aye.
Chesterfield County, Ms. Smith.
Aye.
Goochland County, Mr. Goyne.
Aye.
Hanover County, Mr. Vidunas.
Aye.
Henrico County, Ms. Meidler.
Aye.
Powhatan County, Ms. Dutton.
Aye.
City of Richmond, Mr. Wagner.
Aye.
New Kent County, Ms. Inman.
Aye.
And I think I saw Sherry join. Are you here, Ms. Adams?
Yeah.
Okay. Charles City County, Ms. Adams.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay. Item 11, TAC members, does anybody have anything they would like to share with the committee? I know there's a 6-year improvement public hearing this evening or this afternoon, which I'll be heading to in a few minutes. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay. That's all right. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 8th, 2026 at 1 p.m. And we stand adjourned till June 8th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.